I'm Douglas Mpondi, Associate Professor and Chair, Metropolitan State University of Denver.
Whoa, wait, big dog on deck. And who is this young man in the blue next to you?
Well, my name is Shingi Mavima. I'm a PhD candidate in the African American and African Studies program at Michigan State University. But more pertinently to this conversation, I'm the author of the recently published Pashena novel, which senior here has had the chance to read. So I'm just trying to, to get some feel for what he thought, man.
I like the book. It talks about me. It talks about me growing up in the village.
Interesting.
Playing soccer. I was the captain of my village team. So what Shingi was writing in Pashena resonates well and identifies with what I was doing. I can actually see my friends in the characters that he has in his book.
Baba Douglas, if you don't mind me interrupting, can you tell me and kind of be specific? What can you point to us, like what particularities of the story that you can directly relate to? Can you kind of draw out from the text what story you could directly relate to? I know it's many, but for our viewers and our audience, can you kind of have a specific chapter or stage in the book that you directly could relate to? Could you kind of speak on that?
The field itself, the Pashena field, how it was built, that was the same thing we were doing back home in the village. Clearing, all those stumps and trees to try and have a field using wood, as a post. And then the soccer ball was not the modern soccer ball. It was made of plastic. Sometimes we would put air into it. It didn't last. We put rags, but we still continued to do that. And it was not about poverty. No. It was not about poverty. It was about using the resources that were available to us.
Yeah, boy.
And we were very comfortable with that.
Yes, sir.
And we would spend the whole day playing. And I like what the author was doing, especially in terms of mobilizing the village, the township boys to come to the field. That's what I was doing.
Yes, sir.
If those boys didn't show up, I became sick. Like, what is our day gonna be today?
Right.
Without soccer.
Without ball.
Yeah, because it was so part of our lives that we couldn't even do it.
You say the love that you all generated together on that field became a gravity.
Yeah.
And when that gravity was broken, the love was broken. And when the love was broken, you felt a sickness.
Yeah. And then how the author also brings in the township streets, the names into the characters.
Yes, sir.
And then the class system that he also brings, especially with the tennis brothers who were kind of reluctant. But at the same time, you could see that they want to be part of it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I like how he brings all those characters from different classes, from different locations, those fights, and those unplanned games. But the whole idea was playing.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And then we have the grandmother saying, you guys, I want you home. But at the same time, she was here with them being out.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And then it brings the community, the whole community together.
Right.
Especially when there's a funeral, you could see the community coming together. Like, there's a disruption in their lives, but they also feel like we are one community.
Yes.
But it's now going back to the soccer games that if there is a dissonance in not playing the game, then life in the community is just like broken.
Right. And indeed, I think I want to have a little bit of a segue and talk about, when you talk about the soccer field being salvation. I think throughout Pashena, we hear about, the deaths, particularly the deaths of Shingi's friend and through the HIV epidemic and how they had to endure that. And one of his good friends' fathers passes away. We start to see a lot of lives being lost and the soccer field becoming salvation for these young people to have some kind of self, some kind of agency. Shingi, can you kind of speak to what that space meant for you and how and why is that important that you share that with the rest of the world?
Man, I think it does two fundamental things. I would say salvation on one end, which you have picked out on, and equalizing on the other end, right? Which I think...
that we are mere mortals.
Right. We are mere mortals. And on the field, you, slightly richer kid, and you, orphan, we are the same. We are the same. You know, it's a merit-based thing. Let's play. And on the day that you play well, you know, you're the favorite. And on the day that you don't show up for the game, you know, people worry about you. On the day that you suck, for lack of a better term, you know, you're public enemy number one. So it was a very equalizing thing. And sometimes when people are going through stuff and we hold them with like kid gloves, that is the worst thing we can do. So I think the field kind of speaks for that, you know.
Would you say that the soccer field was a place where maybe social class and social status was kind of neutralized?
Yeah. If not neutralized, at least diminished to a point of we could function. Yeah, we could function well. But I was trying to get this out of you, you know, as you talk. Since we're talking about class, yeah. The tennis brothers. Who were those guys for you? You know, what's your story with the tennis brother figure in your story?
Give us some details.
Yeah, the tennis brothers come from an elite family, but because they are also part of the community. Because tennis is an individual sport.
Yeah, boy.
Of course, you play doubles in tennis. I also play tennis, but I know how it's so individualistic compared to soccer because it's a team sport. But they also wanted to be part of the team. At the same time, wanting to distance themselves, like we are better than the rest of the team. But we see them also trying to like, there's no way we can survive without the other boys.
Ooh.
So, in my experience, you know, we had situations where those who think they were better than the others would bring that tubeless ball and would say, okay, because I'm not playing, I'm going back home with my soccer ball.
Okay, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm going to interject here. And this is where the Pan-African and the diaspora with relatable experiences coming in. So in the African-American context, this is the context of, you know, you have the guy that, you know, they have a little bit more money than everybody else. Maybe their parents are lawyers or school teachers or whatever have you. But, you know, they own a football. They own a basketball. They own the baseball. And, you know, depending on their mood, they could end the ball game, right? They could shut down the sandlot. Depending on their feelings, I'm gonna take my ball home. Right. So that's interesting that that universal character, if you will, kind of stands out globally.
But how does that play out in you? Because I think one of the difference may be like how this is resolved in different places. Right?
Ooh, speak to that.
So how does that play out when the kids say that they wanna take their ball?
Yeah. So in our case, because we were a team. We even told the guy that if you want to take your ball home, then you're not going to be part of the team.
Oh.
But we also went to his mother and said, oh, this is how he's behaving. And the mother said, no, that's not his ball. It's for the team. So if he misbehaves and tries to take the ball away from you, let me know. Because I bought this ball for the community, not just for him. I'm waiting for him to be playing with you.
Wow.
So now if he's saying it's his ball, then I'm going to give you the ball and he's not going to play.
Wow.
So from then on, he was behaving well because we even told him, this is not your ball, this is for the community.
Wow.
And he became one of the favorites because he was even asking to play. Because sometimes we'll take the ball early before he comes back from school or he found us playing you'd be like, okay. Can I play? He was now asking us to be part of the team. Yeah, but The issue was not about the ball. The issue was about the team.
The team.
Yeah, that's without that ball from the city, the tubeless ball, we can still play with the regs, but still be okay. Yeah. So I mean, I think it helped us to have that sense of responsibility, that we used later in life, especially when you think about hardships.
Right.
You would think like, some people say I'm depressed. You are not depressed. It's not depression, but people are like, we've gone through some situations where, it's life and death.
You say it's hard for an African ain't got time to be depressed.
Yeah, I know.
we can be depressed after liberation, huh?
That's not depression. We tend to medicalize a lot of things in the West.
Yeah, but
oh, this is it's stress. I'm stressed. No, it's not.
Well, and the part of it too, right? Talking about the legacy of these things is in Shona. If you ask me, if we're talking in Shona, and they are saying you are looking for Clarence, but you can't remember his name, the term we use to describe that, like, Anotambana Shingi, right? To this day, Anotambana Shingi is like, he's the guy, literally translates to, he is the guy who plays with Shingi.
And they would know
right
away.
But that's how we embody friendship, right, and relationship. So even as adults, even when you on your deathbed or when you die, the people you played with,
you symbiotically connected to the community.
Right. And I'm not saying this is the only community where that happens, but what I'm saying is the fact that the operational term for that is playing. That's how we say. Some people say like we hang out, or the people who, or the person you're always with. These are also good terms. But in Shona, the term for that person, it doesn't matter how old you are or you hang out at conferences. It means the term we use is the person you play with. So that kind of goes back to this idea of team and the idea of playing that we cultivated as children, right? So that hasn't changed. So.
And look at how Shingi relates with his cousins in the book. Of course, he wanted us to know the relationship, but the issue is, it's his brothers. It's his, you won't say, this is my cousin from my aunt or from, no, it's just brother, it's just sister. Because even for me, my uncle, I wouldn't say, when I'm telling you that it's my uncle, I won't say this is my brother's my father's younger brother. No, you'll be in trouble. Yeah, you just say this is father.
This is father. Yes.
Because that respect has to just stay within the family. Yeah.
So and I find it interesting too. I don't know if you've dealt with this. You've been here a little bit longer than I have. So sometimes somebody passes away at home, and I say to an American friend, my uncle has died, and then they say, were you close?
Yeah.
What do you mean when you're close?
Yeah.
Like, it's that is my father for intents and purposes, that is so.
How closer can I get, huh?
Right. It's one of those cultural disconnects that I find a lot of times when people ask me things like that. Oh, my cousin is in trouble. Oh, are you guys close?
Everyone is close.
That's my brother. Yeah. You know.
Can you guys kind of speak to what's been the impact of community and teamwork as you all look, years later, you all are doing well academically, professionally, spiritually. How can you put into words what those experiences instilled into you that made you the great people that you are today?
I think the bottom line is we need each other. There's no way.
Unpack that as I tell my students. Unpack that.
There's no way you can succeed on your own. There's somebody who has helped you along the way, and don't belittle that.
Hey.
Yeah. So that also has to be passed on to our children, to the community, that if we stay connected, if we stay united, then nothing is going to stop us.
Absolutely.
United we stand, divided we fall.
Yeah. It's like injury to one is injury to all.
Ooh, speak on it, Baba. Speak on it.
There's a great quote I like, and it comes out of this Indian Sri. But a lot of these indigenous wisdoms are very, they overlap, And one of his followers, had asked him like, sir, how are we supposed to treat others? And he responds, there are no others.
Oh, just us.
You know, so when you say, and to me, that's the importance of this. I'm not gonna speak to, you know, you use the term great. You know, I'm not gonna speak to how great or whatever I am, but I'll tell you that there is no part of my story that is not the story of Ta, for example, in the book. You know, so Ta, who's my best friend in the book and still a very close friend of mine today, my success is tied to his success, you know.
Can you unpack that a little bit more for us?
So, for example, when I was writing the story and I talk about Ta's family in some pretty intimate details, right? The first thing I did was to ask for his blessing. I said, Ta, I'm going to tell some of these stories. Is that okay? And he says, no, man, that's okay. I'm just glad that you're telling our story. And when I first got like the rough draft of it, which was like just like pages upon pages, and I went to Zimbabwe in 2015, just gave it to them. You know, take a look. And I watched them, right, as they read him and a couple other guys, and they're just like laughing at different parts. Like, oh man, this guy, you know? And they say that. And to this day, right, the story that I told, so Takura now, in the book, you can tell that he's getting into basketball. Right now, he's the team manager of the local basketball team in Dangamvura Nice. And I'm not a big basketball fan myself, but I cannot do anything but support that team. You know, every now and then I'll send a little bit of money.
Count it.
You are a person because of other people.
Ooh, I am because we are.
Yeah, so we say umuntu ngumuntu ngabantu. A person is a person because of other people.
Ooh, we.
On your own, you can't live. So from a cultural viewpoint, if you take fish out of water, they die.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you take culture out of us, we don't survive.
Absolutely. So I'll give a very real example. I'll go back to Ta real quick. Because in November 2016, my grandfather, Kulu, in the book Pashena, he passed away. I'm in the US chasing this dream that many times I don't even believe in. But I'm stuck here. I couldn't go back home and be with my family, you know? And my family is there, you know, everybody we talked about. But overwhelmingly, I heard how Takura Ta buried my grandfather, you know what I'm saying? And maybe as much as my cousins and other people, because Ta was there, I feel like I was there, you know? As much as like people who actually blood to my grandfather. I heard that he was there. There was a problem with the city council and water, and he drove to the city council and made that possible. So again, and this is the conversation I've had with people, and people talking about Pashena doing well, and what does that mean for you, and how many books would you sell? And I said to myself, if 100,000 people in the US and other places tell me they love the book, and 4 people I talk about in Pashena say they hate it, I have failed as a writer. But if Ta and Nigel and the other folks represented in the book say like good, you know, you did a good job, or you were funny, or you lied about this, but that was good, you know, I would feel like the book has been a success. So these are some of the things. This is where community plays.
So you would say that you produce this piece for your people.
Absolutely, and yeah, I mean, you said it all, bro. You said it. That's it.
So, Baba, Douglas, let me get some closing remarks from you. Not only what the book kind of reminded you of, but what is the future? You know, how can we as folks, people of African descent on the continent, in the diaspora, left of Africa and right of Africa, how can we contribute to a global African conversation?
I think the issue is Africans are everywhere. We are the cradle of many kinds.
Wait, time out, Baba. I'm not. Could you say that again? We're the cradle of what?
The cradle of many kinds.
Many kinds.
Yeah.
Many kinds.
This is where civilization started. So we can't be told about our experience by other people. We need to write it ourselves.
Yebo Baba.
Stories. So even when people read Pashena and they would say, "Oh, why did you do this?" No, Shingi was just telling his story.
Absolutely.
And that's how he wanted to tell the story. And there's also one thing that he said that I tend to maybe disagree with. That if the characters in the book say what he said is okay, he's fine. No, I don't think they're the ones who should be saying that. Yeah. It's us, the readers, who should be saying, no, we love the story. For them, they don't control the narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they don't. They're just characters. Yeah. So it's okay when they say you wrote it the way it happened during our days when we were playing. But it is us, the readers, who are like, this is our story. Now we own it. Yeah, they don't.
Right.
Guys now don't have
This is not our story.
That's a very interesting comment that Baba Douglas says. Once you put that out in the market, it's now the consumer's imagination that owns Pashena, right? Like now it's how we reimagine and how we immaculate these stories, these characters into our.
And how is it reproducing
Absolutely.
the reality, that we can identify with.
Indeed.
Because it is now our story.
Yes, sir. So Blessing Mavima, I'm gonna ask you a follow-up question. Hearing what Baba Douglas said about this groundbreaking work of you really digging into a historiography, if you will. I look at this work as both a biography, a historiography, and a bit of a I don't want to say a fictional narrative, but a very cognizant story on taking the reader on a journey.
Right.
So I ask you, piggybacking off what Baba Douglas said, knowing now that there is a great passion for folks to kind of understand your story and kind of spread the word. I mean, the numbers are unbelievable, and I think the story that you tell in the book are way more, complex than whatever the numbers will ever produce. What do you take away from hearing this elder that obviously your work has struck a chord with him, and I have to imagine if it struck a chord with him, it's stricken a chord with a lot of people. So how do you kind of resonate with that and understand that people respect your work, need your work, and how do you position yourself to move into the future? What does your future look like?
I think that's a good question, man. I think I wanna respond to two things: the story itself, then me. I think like Senior here said, we need to tell these stories, right? And I don't want this story to be the Zimbabwean story. I don't want the story, even if it resonates with a lot of people, But if you look at the way, for example, stories in the U.S. have been told, right? You get everything from Freddy versus Jason to Rocky to American Pie to The Notebook and all these stories, right? What does that do? What's the suggestion there? That there is so many things that could possibly happen. I'm saying? Dare I say, you start talking about Tyler Perry and these things. There's so many things that constitutes an American experience, right? And I think we as Africans or other groups whose stories have been marginalized or have been put to the periphery, we need to tell our stories and more of them so that somebody can say, you know what? Pashena wasn't my experience, and I'm from Zimbabwe. However, this was my story, And sometimes you publish it in an academic paper, and it hits a certain way. I think one of my favorite writers, Peter O'Brien.
I like Conan O'Brien. I like that show.
Peter O'Brien he talks about this. He writes about the Vietnam War. It's like the stuff I made up, but if I didn't make it up, if I tell you that 1 in 4 people had HIV in Zimbabwe, right? That sounds bad, but maybe it may not hit you as hard as when I tell you that my cousin had HIV. It's one person I'm talking about, but the intimate bond
with that 1 in 4.
Right. Makes it, So even if I didn't have a cousin, but that was somebody's cousin,
right?
So I might make that thing up to put to the reader that So
Give some humanity to that experience.
humanize the experience, absolutely. So as for me and my future, man, I take cues from God. I take cues from the community. My next move will be determined by them. But whatever it is, I'm gonna continue telling the story of my people, kind of contributing to the uplift. So.
All right, so I need closing words for Baba Douglas. Do you have any closing remarks?
I think Shingi has said it all.
Yeah, Baba. We'll take that.
But, I encourage him to write more. I mean, as one of his early books, I think this is
a great start, right?
in the right direction, and you shouldn't be discouraged by criticism. You know, as a writer, it will always come.
Right,
Yeah, so
right.
There's nothing like perfect writing. Yeah.
It don't exist, I don't think.
So just keep on writing. Yeah, keep on telling your story.
Nice.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate
Awesome.
it. Indeed.
Blessing, do you have any closing remarks?
No, I think I've covered it all. I mean, thank you for everybody who's read the book, and everybody who's, even if you haven't read it, but you've come to the book launches, engaged the social media posts. Just encourage me in some way, you know. Thank you so much, and, you know, happy reading if you're still to read the book.